Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and welcome to the Great Guitar Build Off 2023 in my scratch build entry. Alright you guys, so as you can see, the Ceres is still hanging up back there untouched since the last time we talked. Let me grab it and I want to show you guys a couple of things and talk to you for just a minute. I've taken a couple of days off from the shop to give myself time to think about what I wanted to do about this thing. And even though it's going to cause me to more than likely miss the deadline for the Great Guitar Build Off, I'm unconcerned about that because really that only matters if you're into the competition side of things, and I'm not. I've said that from my first video for the very first Great Guitar Build Off that I participated in. I don't care about the competition. This is about driving me to create something unique. It pushes me to learn as much about a new process or a series of new processes that make me a better builder in the end. I'm starting all over. There's a couple of things wrong with it that made me come to this decision, and I'll show you guys what those are. First of all, this hook back here has ended up so unlike what I intended it to be in the beginning. This was meant to be a small, very shallow carve right here that could reveal some of the wood underneath. That was a byproduct of me sanding and sanding and sanding, trying to get this stain to hug a tight line right here. There's one thing on this build that in order for me to fix, it would take me as long to fix this problem as it would to just glue up a new blank and start all over again. And that is this ramp down at the end of this fretboard. I slapped a couple of pickups in here just to see what it would look like. I'm not at all happy with the gap that is created between the end of the fretboard and the pickup cavity. I want a flat edge right there. Another thing that's wrong, one of my recesses right here, the hole's slightly out of center. It's far enough out of center that you're going to be able to tell it when I install the tuners on this guitar. You know, I built most of this out of wood that I already had around the shop. Some of it was even wood left over from previous builds, i.e. the mahogany strips here, this curly maple strip down the back, the Purple Heart, that was used for another build. I actually bought no wood for this particular guitar. It was all stuff I already had here. One of the benefits of having a large wood store. The hook on the back of this thing is going to be much less pronounced on the new guitar. The reveal's not going to be nearly this wide. I've lengthened the body just a little. I've narrowed it out slightly. I'm changing it to a 25.5-inch scale. This one's a 25-inch scale. I just think the placement of the pickups, the tremolo placement, all that stuff's going to work out better with the changes that I have made to the body. You guys know how I am. This is about my personal journey and about me learning to be a great builder. Well, I think a great builder, one of the things that separates you from a hobbyist is knowing when you have done subpar work. That's subpar work and I can't deal with it. So I've spent the past few days, yesterday all day and most of the day today already, dimensioning down some new timber for this build. It's not going to be that different from that body shape. The woods I'm choosing to use, completely different. So let's pan down here and go through this real quick. I've got outside pieces of Mansonia or African walnut, black streaks. It's beautiful wood. I love this. That's the main part of the body. I've got veneer cut. This is white poplar veneer separating these two outside center pieces right here, which are figured Padauk. And you can see that's got some beautiful striations and some streaking in it. I love this. Padauk's one of my favorite woods ever for guitar building. Next on the list, roasted curly maple. And I just cut myself a couple of strips out of this to accent not only the Padauk, but this centerpiece of also wicked curly maple that I'm using up the middle. I'm a fan of using a curly maple strip up the center. You guys have seen me do that before. So I've got black fiber veneer separating the roasted maple from the white maple. This Padauk will become the darkest wood of the bunch. I feel certain of that because Padauk goes this wonderful dark reddish brown color over time. So that's what we're looking like. I've got to glue this up, which we're going to do right here in a minute. Before we do that, I want to show you guys this neck that I've chosen to make. This will be my headstock end, and I'm going to probably put some veneer in between the curly maple and the outside pieces. If you'll notice, it's about 7/8 of an inch thick, or right at 21 millimeters thick. I've decided, in the interest of time, that I'm going to do this guitar as a bolt-on as opposed to a set neck like the last version was, like that one is. I'll use 4 threaded metal inserts in the back of the neck. You guys will get to see my new method to attach a neck to a body using bolts. This will still be a 24 fret guitar. Let me go dig out the fretboard I've chosen to use on this thing. I think you guys are going to be really happy with it. I'm going to go with this quarter sawn Cocobolo fretboard right here, which is absolutely stunning, and I think it goes perfectly with this neck. This is a piece of quilted maple. It's got those same burl pins in it like that last tops that I used that's on that guitar. These are a little more pronounced, but also a little more symmetrical. Right now what we want to do is get this body blank glued up. I am excited about this, you guys. I'm bummed a little because I've made this decision, but I have to be strong enough in my will to learn and to admit my own mistakes. This comes down to that. That's what this is, you guys. I cannot bring myself to put hardware on that guitar. I may never finish that guitar. It may always serve as a reminder for me to pay a little bit more attention, to plan out things a little better in the beginning. I love that body shape. I love the way it looks. I love the neck on that guitar. So I'll mainly keep it around for nostalgic reasons, you know, to remind me that that's where I was at that phase of my journey. Let's get this body blank glued up so we can start making some headway on this guitar. I've got a lot of work to do and not much time to do it in. I'm really anxious to get started on this, and we can't do anything until we've got a body and a neck blank. So let's get rolling on this thing, you guys. I'll put some wax paper down to keep myself from gluing this body to the table. I think this roller is going to help me to know that I'm not using way too much glue like I always do. This is a 13-piece body. Put just a little pressure so I can still move this stuff. All right, you guys, we got the body blank glued up. It's sitting over there drying. It won't be ready for me to do anything to it until tomorrow. We need to get the neck blank glued up now, and instead of just leaving this plain 3-piece with a curly maple center, 2 outside pieces of Padauk, I'm going to veneer this in between it with some thick Wingay veneer. It's the darkest veneer I've got in the shop right now while I wait on this black to get here, but it could be a couple of weeks before it gets here. I ordered it from Canada. Anyway, let's get this neck blank done. All right, so what I'm going to do is just use the actual piece itself. Make sure everything's nice and seated. And then one more this direction. All right. All right, you guys, I got my body blank glued up. I got my neck blank glued up. We're ready to make some forward progress on this thing when I start back on this tomorrow. Again, I apologize to you guys for all this wasted time, for all these videos up until now. But in my mind, it's not really wasted time, and I hope you guys can see it this way. I've learned so many valuable lessons building that thing. I'm really happy with the wood choices I've made for the new version of the Ceres. I'm really happy with the body shape changes that I've made, which are very minimal. I went back to Inkscape knowing all those issues that I had, and I made a couple of other changes to make the guitar more finish friendly in the end, because I can't fight those same problems again. But as I said in the beginning, you guys, in my quest to become a better builder, one of the major lessons that I have learned is you have to be able to admit to yourself when you've made a mistake, and you also have to be able to admit when you don't need to go any further. Sometimes it's just time to stop, gather yourself together, and think about what you want to do moving forward. Well, what I want to do is continue to learn, continue to become a better builder, and continue to produce valuable content for you guys so you can learn either through my mistakes or through my success. And that's what I'm doing here on YouTube, as most of you guys know. When it comes to the Great Guitar Build-Off, as much admiration as I have for the organization, for the charities that they support, for my brothers that build for the Great Guitar Build-Off, I've been, knee deep off in this community for the past 3 years, since my first Great Guitar Build-Off 3 years ago. I can't tell you how important that is to me. But the competition side of the Great Guitar Build-Off means absolutely nothing to me, less than nothing. I paid to be in the scratch build category because I like the pressure that puts me under. Not to compete against any of you guys, but to compete against my own self. I've already built one guitar for the Great Guitar Build-Off, the Astrolabe that I did as a collaboration for the community category with Geo. Turned out so beautiful and so nice. And when I look at that guitar and I pick it up and play it, that lets me know that I am capable of close to master built quality work. And that is not an example of that kind of work. I asked myself in the end, after I thought about this for a couple of days, would I be willing to sell any one of you guys that guitar? My answer was no. My next question was, would I donate that guitar to a charity? Go ahead and spray it, assemble it, let it go, give it away to someone or whatever? Would I do that? No. Would I enter that guitar into my own personal collection for a demo or whatever? Again, my answer was no. So all three of those questions that I posed to myself made that decision for me. And I have to be willing to swallow that pill. My passion for guitar building has not wavered whatsoever. So my plan is to use the lessons I've learned from building that guitar up to that point to be able to build a new guitar in that basic same body shape, still meet the deadline for the Great Guitar Build-Off, and all will be well. So I hope you guys will continue to visit the channel. I hope this doesn't do anything to sour our relationship with each other. You know I love you guys, and I really do appreciate so much all the support you have shown me over the past 3 years. I can't tell you what that means to me, and that continuously reminds me of how important it is that not only that I do my best work, but that I try my best to produce relevant content. Thank you so much for everything, you guys. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, peace and love.